Hi, guys. Welcome to our daily encounter. As many of you know, our reading each day really consists of 4 readings. We have a portion from the Old Testament, from the New Testament, in the Psalms, and then also in Proverbs. And we read all 4 of these sections every day with the goal of reading through the whole Bible by the end of the year. And it's very rare that we would have one topic covered in all 4 readings. We might have every once in a while a topic covered in 2 of the readings, though less frequently a topic covered in 3 of the readings. But today we have a topic addressed in all 4 readings. And the topic that is discussed and covered is that of the care of God towards people. And this is, again, brought out in all 4 of our readings. And it starts off kind of general, or one of the readings is very general in speaking about this in Psalm 8. And there, the psalmist is looking up into the sky on probably a clear night, and he observes some things. He says in verse 3, "When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained, what is man that you take thought of him, and the son of man that you care for him?" Here it's speaking more generally about God's care. We'll see in a moment in the other 3 readings how God's care is specifically directed towards those who love him, those who fear him, those who follow him. But here it's more general towards all mankind. There is just this general grace that God has toward all mankind in which he cares for all people. Even on the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says that God the Father causes the sun to shine on the righteous and the unrighteous. On the just and the unjust. He has also the rain that would nourish their crops. It falls on both the righteous and the unrighteous. God has this general provision that he provides for all of his creation, and mankind is included in that. And this would be a very general way in which God provides. What we find in our Old Testament reading, more specifically, his care for the righteous. There we have God's plan to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. The angels were going to go down to check out to see if it was as wicked as it had been said to be. And if so, God was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah in that whole region. But Abraham says, "Lord, what if there's 50 righteous there? Will you destroy the righteous with the unrighteous? Surely you wouldn't do that." And he goes all the way down, and it dwindles down to 10. He says, "What if there's 10 righteous people in the city? Will you destroy the city, with the 10? And the Lord says, "No, I'll spare the city for the 10. So here you have the Lord making a promise to spare a whole region of wicked people. Perhaps thousands of inhabitants would be spared simply because God doesn't want to destroy the righteous with the unrighteous. Kind of reminds us of the parable of the tares, where God says, tells the angels, don't pluck up the tares just yet. You might destroy the wheat too. Let them both grow together. And then we'll distinguish between the two. He didn't want that good, wholesome wheat to be destroyed. He cared for the wheat, which represented the righteous. And then also in our New Testament reading, in Matthew chapter 6, we see Jesus, of course, those famous statements that he makes about how God cares for us and that we don't have to worry about our life and what we'll be wearing tomorrow or what we will eat, that the Lord will provide for us. And he concludes by saying, "Seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." That God is going to provide for you. If you have your priorities right, if you're seeking the kingdom above everything else, we can at least say that our basic necessities will be provided. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have an easy go at it. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be living in a mansion and driving fancy cars. But our basic necessities, food and clothing, will be provided if we're seeking the kingdom first and putting that above everything else. And then even in the book of Proverbs, we have this promise about God's caring for the righteous. In verse 7 of Proverbs chapter 2, it says, "He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk in integrity, guarding the paths of justice, and he preserves the way of his godly ones." So here, God protecting, more of a not so much providing, but protecting, but still showing care for his godly ones, for the ones who care for him, who fear him, who are walking in wisdom. God shields them and protects them and watches over them. And so that's an observation that the writer of this proverb makes, that God provides for his godly ones, or protects his godly ones. So in all four of these readings, we see God's provision, God's care for mankind in general, but even more so towards those who are serving him, who love him, who are devoted to him. So what should this do for us practically? Well, it should cause us to not be so concerned about how we're going to be taken care of. Kind of goes with what Jesus' main point in Matthew chapter 6. Not to allow ourselves to be paralyzed by worry or fear, but to keep walking, following the Lord, obedient to the Lord, open to his will, putting the things of the kingdom above everything else, and just let the cards fall as they may. And say that, well, the cards don't have to fall as they may, because God's going to direct them in a way that we would be provided for. But just to follow the Lord, put him first, and just trust that he will take care of the rest. And we don't have to have every little detail figured out. All we got to do is be obedient to what we know today and what he has shown us today, and continue to walk in that day after day after day, and see if we don't really see his powerful and mighty hand providing for us all along the way. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.